Sup, my name is Logan, aka Spiderhands, aka SP Plays, and today I want to talk to something. I've just woken up. I want to talk about something that's very, 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 very important to me, and that is fairness. Fairness. Fairness is very important to me. I like when things are fair. We're gonna switch over to here. And we're gonna look at something. It's just give me a sec. I just gotta load up stories about something. Because you see, we got ourselves here a situation where there's a new graphics card. Looks like it's gonna be amazing. Looks like it's gonna be amazing. You see here, Microsoft Flight Simulator, 30%, 48%, 49%, 32%. These are all in 1440p. You get an uptick of around 30% extra frames. 30 to 40% extra on average across a lot of these different titles. And I've seen a 30 to 40% average be consistent across a few of the benchmark videos that I've watched. And this is for a card that's exactly the same price, if not less, than when the 2080 came out. I'm talking about the 30X, the RTX 3080 here. At a base level, the RTX 3080 is a superior card to the 2080. And I've got a 2080. And part of me is like, should I upgrade to a 3080? But we'll talk about that in a moment. We've got to talk about the PS5 now. So basically they're saying that it is going to be between $499 and $399, and that actually was. The PS5 is going to be $500 US for like the disc version and $400 US for the non-disc digital version. You get a whole bunch of really cool games, I think, when you buy it. My understanding is it's like a PlayStation Plus collection or something that you get. So you get a whole bunch of really cool things when you purchase it if you're a PS Plus member, which is like $15 a month. And it's kind of like an answer to Xbox's Game Pass. I could be wrong about getting it at launch, but that's the way that I interpreted the show. Because I've got a showcase that's just been on. If you haven't seen the PS5 showcase, please check it out. So at the moment, I've got a graphics card that I want. And I've also got a PS5 that I want. And in an ideal world, if I didn't have to pay for an exorbitant income tax bill, because that's the situation I am, where I make enough money to pay income tax, which is a profit is good. It's just when you have to pay 4 figures in income tax, and it's a few 4 figures, it's not as much fun. But I can't really justify buying these because of that. But if I could, in an ideal world, I would purchase the 3080 and I would also purchase the PS5. In fact, I would probably purchase the 3090 simply because I want to have enough VRAM and all that to cover me for a few years. But at the same time, you don't know if there's going to be improvements with the ray tracing technology. You don't know what the next generation is going to get. So it'd be the 3080 or the 20 and a PS5 for me. Which the 3080 is around $800 at the moment, not including the obligatory New Zealand currency plus 150 plus another 100 because it's the first month of release bill. So I'm probably going to be paying the equivalent of around 950 USD after all conversions. So it's garbage that we pay a premium in New Zealand of like 150 to $200 USD extra, but it's just the way it is here in New Zealand. People like to charge extra because they just do it for shits and giggles. But yeah, the PS5 is probably also going to be around $800, $850 here, I would assume. What I'm not so happy with is if we go to 3080 scalping. The great 3080 scalping has begun. We all knew this was coming, so it begins. Scalpers sell pre-orders of GTX RX 3080 for over $1,200. People are already buying these cards in bulk in advance, and then what they're doing is they're selling the pre-orders to people at a 50% markup. And it makes me so angry that people are being this optimistic in a time where a lot of people are struggling. This is literally the US currency, where 200,000 people or more have died of coronavirus. A horrendous percentile of people have lost their jobs over in the States alone. And you've got people scalping these cards to people for 50% on top. I don't know how many people are buying these cards, but I would say there would be people who are desperate for a card. And what I need from people right now, if you're watching this, I need you to wait. I need you to wait just a bit longer. I need you to wait. And in fact, I was wrong. It was $699 for the 2080. Custom models are going to be more expensive. The IAB partners are probably going to be $800 to $900. But they're selling the 3080s at a $500 markup, which is actually 60%, roughly. To anyone who is wanting to buy a 3080 and they can't get it because they've been sold out, my dudes, please just wait. There is no point in me trying to say anything about the scalpers, because they know. I would suggest there's two mentalities. The first is they're like, it's just the system and I'm gaming it. And that's open market capitalism, people will buy if there's demand. And that's what I got to say to them, because it's like, you're taking advantage of people. You're taking advantage of people's desperation. They've been put into a state where they are obviously not really in control or thinking logically. Or maybe they are thinking logically and they think the $1,200 is reasonable. But if they think that $1,200 is reasonable, you shouldn't be charging that much, because that's taking advantage of people's goodwill. But again, I don't think that the other side is people who just don't fucking care. They just don't care about the fact that they're ripping people off. They don't care. And it's such a shitty thing to do. I mean, I'm not going to pretend that NVIDIA didn't kind of screw people with the second generation, like 2000 series, because they did. That price premium for the performance was poor. And I'm glad I got a 2080, because it was fun to overclock. And actually, the 2080 video I did on this channel is one of the more successful videos I've done, because it shows you how to overclock it. And I would love to do the same with a 3080. But the reality is that with these markups, especially, like, you can imagine that for people who, like, especially if you've sold your graphics card in advance of this because you thought, there'll be enough stock. No, there won't, because these scalpers are trying to buy up the supply of them. So there is not enough stock. There could be like 10,000 GPUs, right? But even if like 50% of those get bought up, you've got 50% chance of what you originally had to either get them at the right price and sort of race everyone else. Or you have to, especially when like a lot of people are being told to stay home and not go into physical shops. It's just whoever's got the best internet connection, or whoever, you can imagine that a lot of these online stores, when these cards get released, are going to just struggle. I mean, not the massive big boys like Amazon and stuff like that. A lot of the bigger retailers, like Newegg, I suppose they'll be fine. But like the medium-sized websites, they're just not going to be able to. They're not going to be able to handle this. They're going to have issues, and people are going to get pissy because they're going to get halfway there, or there's going to be a timeout or something like that. And it's going to be an incredibly stressful experience. When in fact, actually, I don't really think that this needs to be that stressful. It's just that the market conditions, along with the marketing hype and the fact that NVIDIA has actually made cards which are significantly more powerful than the 2000 series. I think all of that is combined to create either an artificial or an actual, like, pulsating, writhing, like, desire for these amongst PC enthusiasts, casual gamers, etc. I just still don't think that you need to buy a 30 series card to be able to get the most out of gaming, What's going to happen is a lot of people are going to sell their 2000 series cards to get 3000 series. But these cards were more than capable of doing 1080p and 1440p, you know. At least 1440p at 60 FPS on high settings for like a 2080. And because the 3070 is reportedly faster than a 2080, you've got a card that's like, what? Maybe $500 or $600 US or something like that. So the 2080 is going to have to be less than that, minus the fact that it's secondhand. So you're probably going to be seeing 2080s once these 3000 series release for around like $300 to $400. And those cards will handle 1440p 60 just fine. 1440p 120 in like games like Fortnite stuff. And I know because I have one. And if you got an Intel processor that's faster than like my 2700X, like a 9900K or a 9700K, you're going to have a really good time. You don't need to have a 3000 series to be able to game. There's a reason why a lot of people on Steam have 1060s, because that 6 gigs of RAM is enough to handle 1080p and 1440p gaming. And also, while everyone's sort of focused on, oh, the 3080s are cool, a lot of people just do not have the money right now. But those who were excited about the fact that this card was coming out at $700, and they did have the money, and they didn't have that price premium to match the performance, because there's competition from AMD, and also I think Intel are trying to do something graphics-wise. It's just disappointing, really. It's just disappointing behavior. So for you watching this as a person who potentially may be wanting to do some sort of 1440p gaming, first of all, if you have a 1080p monitor, don't even bother with a 3000 series. Don't even bother with a 3000 series unless you're going for high refresh rate League of Legends kind of stuff where you need to have 360 frames or 240 frames even. Don't even bother with this. It's not worth your time. It's a waste of time for you to even consider going for one of these cards when you have a 1080p monitor. Go for a 1440p monitor. Get yourself a 1370. Avoid this garbage. Avoid this garbage. You know, avoid it like the plague. Don't go near it. Don't go near a 3080. Don't go near scalpers. Don't fall prey to it. They're bastards. They're really crappy people. I think that anyone who is scalping during a global recession is a piece of shit. An absolute piece of shit. And I can say this stuff and speak my mind because of the fact that I am not monetized on this channel and I make my money outside of it, and the stuff I'm saying I stand behind. I'm disappointed and disgusted with the humans who are behind this. And they're, again, the scalpers will, if a scalper was to come across this video and look at it, they were like, they'll say stuff to support their argument. They'll be like, this fucking snowflake. It's just a graphics card. Why are you getting so upset about it? It's because you're taking advantage of people. It's because you're screwing them when you don't need to. You don't need to put $500 on it, dude. You can just, if you can, you know, like, I'd get it. Like, if we were being sort of trying to compromise, $100 over the retail price because it's unavailable, okay, it's still a bit shitty, but you bought at that price. Maybe you haven't used it. It's completely new and there's a bit of scarcity. But 50 to 60% on top is just fucking ridiculous, and you ought to be ashamed of yourself. But if you're watching this video and you're not a scalper and you're just feeling a bit stressed out because of this, and it's okay if you're not stressed, just if you're even remotely affected by this, just know that there's going to be a premium on these cards for the first month. Nvidia want to make money off of these. They want to make money off of these. And the reason that they're offering it at a lower price for more performance is because they know that they screwed up with the 20 series. They don't want to admit it, but it didn't sell the way they wanted to with the 20 series. The ray tracing just didn't work out for them. It didn't pull the numbers they were expecting. They need this to work. So they will ship more cards. You just had to be patient. And if you've sold your card in advance hoping to get one, you're going to just have to buy another 20 series. Or get a 3070, which is still in many situations apparently faster than a 2080 Ti. With a grain of salt though, because it has less VRAM. It'll probably be on par with the 2080 Ti where, you know, if 2080 Ti was like a $1,200 card, And see for that $1,200 to US to NZD is $1,800, but we pay $2,500 because of the New Zealand price premium. So it actually really doesn't make a fucking difference to us whether or not we actually get one from a scalper or we get one from a New Zealand retail store, because they're both overpriced. I know income tax and all that kind of garbage, but you know what I mean. It's like, I'm going to finish this before, because we talked about the PS5 as well. I'm going to just check there isn't any PS5 scalping going on. They'll like sell out, but there will probably be some scalping of the PS5, but not to the extent of the 3080. Sony, they don't tend to do the limited scarcity thing. Limited scarcity. They don't tend to do the scarcity thing that Nintendo does. Nintendo, like when they were producing like Switches, people were scalping the Switches for like few hundred dollars above what they were, New Zealand dollars, and it was disgusting. But this 3080 stuff is just a whole nother level, dude. It's just a whole nother level, and it's just embarrassing, really. As someone who runs several different business entities, I can say for certainty that there are more ethical ways to make money that don't make you look like a garbage human being. And they're more rewarding. Like, I did a 12-hour day of music stuff yesterday. I did like a studio production class in the morning. I did music tuition in the afternoon. And what else did I do? And I also did like music reviews. And yeah, I know I worked 12 hours. I get paid like roughly $40 to $50 an hour, so it's not bad. And I would have made more money if I'd scalped, but I also didn't fuck someone over. Everything I did actually benefited people. And that makes me a good human being. And if you're making your money by screwing people, you're a shit human being. And you ought to be fucking ashamed of yourself. It's the same attitude I have towards people who will raise their rent prices when there is a limit, like past the reasonable amount, like past the suburb average. When there's like a scarcity of accommodation, I'll raise it to an exorbitant rate. Like, we had earthquakes back in 2010 or 11, and people that were charging like $400 a week, $500, started charging $1,000 a week when people didn't have homes. It was just fucking horrendous. It was just terrible. I don't like people like that. I don't like people who scalp stuff like this to the terms that they did with the 3080. And I don't think that my opinion is particularly rare or unusual. I just think there's like a general apathy towards stuff at the moment for completely understandable reasons. It's like, whatever, man, there's way worse stuff to get angry about. It's just, this is just so unnecessary. It's just so unnecessary. It's just opportunism. If that's the way you're making your money, by buying pre-orders, it's pretty sad. And I know you'll probably be saying, oh, but look, I sold like 20 and I made like $8,000 or whatever. Well, hey, good for you, dude. Good for you. Hopefully the IRS finds out about your unrealized gains and sends you a letter. Anyways, I am going... No, actually, no. I know that sounds a bit weird, right? Why would you possibly have a call from the IRS? Because if you're buying 20 pre-orders to then sell them, that's basically running a business. You're just a reseller. You're just a reseller that theoretically would not be paying tax. So I honestly think that if you're one of these scalpers, that I hope the tax agency finds out about the fact that you're making all of this money and that you have to give them some of it. Because, hey, you're still getting money, right? Here in New Zealand, you have to pay like 30% of your income. Well, maybe you just give 30% of that, $8,000 to the government. That'd be pretty good. I think it'd be better for the government to have it than for you. And I go cool down. I have a day of recording today. My band's recording, getting ready for a session tomorrow. What time is it? And then I have work to do. I teach. I might have some music reviews later on. No, I'm just going to play video games. My life's fucking awesome. If you're that sad in your life that you have to scalp video games to make money, then I feel bad for you, dude. I'm very salty at the moment with this. But I needed to make a video about this because I am passionate about PC stuff. I'm passionate about gaming. Before I go, if you, and this is important, before I go, the final comment, if you hold off on paying them $1,200 for a for an RTX 3080 and you pay $700 for the Founders Edition, do you know what that leaves you with? Enough money to buy a PS5. So that's worth thinking about. If you're like, shit, I really need a 3080, just wait. Because you can get yourself a PS5. Enjoy it, man. Enjoy it. Stay cool, shooters.